let's dive into stem cells then. The New England Journal of Medicine said that the number one indicator of wellness is directly correlated to the number of stem cells in the bloodstream. So stem cells are undifferentiated cells. And what that means is that they can become anything in the body. They are actually the source of the different cells that make up our organs and tissues, not only in humans, but in animals and plants as well. They have the potential, if you think of them almost like a white label cell, they have the potential to put on any type of skin and to go and be any organ in the body. And we're born with massive amounts of stem cells. And if you think of babies and children, they need these stem cells, right? Because they're not born with all of their bones intact. Like babies aren't born with kneecaps. Their skulls are not fully developed. So they need these stem cells so that they can fully develop. And if you think about kids, you know, if they like fall down and they get a bruise, they're healed like the next day, right? It's fast for them. In adults, stem cells serve as a repair system. Everything's already in place. Now we just need it to come in for maintenance, if you will. And that's important because that maintenance accounts for 50 to 70 billion cells every single day that die and are replaced in the human body. And they will be replaced as long as we have the right tools. So in addition to stem cells, we also need nutrients. Does anybody take a multivitamin? Okay, so more than the people that knew Robin before, I noticed. So the multivitamin is only part of it. We need those nutrients, but we also need stem cells in order to come in. And really when those stem cells come in and they replace those organ cells and create those new cells, that's considered regeneration. And that's where the term regenerative medicine comes from. The use of stem cells to treat human disease is termed regenerative medicine. So our bodies actually naturally stimulate stem cells. And in fact, scientists have known this for a decade, that they can stimulate stem cells in the skin. Now, the thing is, stem cells will take on whatever location of the body they are in. So when they've been able to stimulate them in the skin, that's it. They stay in the skin. Well, I don't know about you. I'm just as vain as the next person, right? So I want them in my skin, but there are areas in my body that I know are way more important than my skin that I would rather have stem cells going. And we also naturally stimulate our stem cells when we get like a cut, for example. Those are stem cells that go to the site of wherever our cut is to help us heal. And they will, provided we have an adequate capability that still exists in the body. So what do I mean by that? Well, kids fall down, they heal in like a day. Adults fall down, and it's going to take a lot longer. If we're lucky, it might take days. I don't know about you guys, but I have had bruises that have taken weeks. I have had bruises that have taken months to heal. And as we get older, that ability also goes down. At 35 years old, we only have 50% of our stem cells still firing in our bodies. By 60 years old, we only have about 20% of our stem cells still firing in our bodies. And by our mid-70s, we are showing almost no activity in both stem cells and also a peptide that's called GHK, which we're going to look at in just a moment. So in regenerative medicine today, the big trend out there, for those of you who don't know, and this is not about LifeWave, this is about regenerative medicine in general, is we see companies in the field of stem cell medicine, and they are able to inject stem cells from a younger donor into an older recipient. And this is actually very promising because there is hardly a condition out there that cannot be a potential candidate for this type of therapy. However, there are 3 very imposing challenges. So the first one is that it is potentially dangerous. There is a risk of uncontrolled cell division when you take stem cells from someone else and put it into your own body. And when I say that there's a risk, it is a 30% chance that it will damage the body that it's going into. 30% is a pretty big percentage. It's also costly. So typically, we see that these injections cost anywhere from $5,000 to $35,000 per treatment. And well, we'll get into the other part that makes it costly in just a moment. But the other part of that is that not only is it a 30% chance that it could damage the body it's going into, there's only a 30% chance of success. So you get one of these injections and it might not even take. So it's not really practical on a regular basis either. So, and the last thing that makes it expensive is the legality of it. Whereas right now, most countries have not approved stem cell therapy. So people are traveling quite far in order to get these treatments done. And they're not all, like a lot of people have heard about going to Panama or Colombia for these. They're not all countries like that. Like I know somebody who went to Germany to get stem cell therapy done over there. And then the last one, and this isn't always listed as a challenge, but there's also an ethical dilemma of where are the stem cells being sourced? Do you know who they are coming from? And in a lot of cases, the individual receiving them doesn't know the donor of where those are coming from. So those are stem cells. We'll come back with good news though, I promise. I want to take a moment and look at peptides now. So, okay, peptides. We all learned about peptides in biology class in like high school. Does anybody remember peptides from biology class in high school?
I don't remember anything from
That's okay. You know what? Well, I'll break it down. So peptides are chains of 2 or more amino acids. They're a huge tool in regenerative medicine that's emerging right now, and that's why I want to look at them too. They are the building blocks of proteins. You guys, they're also bioregulators, and they make up the hormones that control our genetic expression and our biological activity of all the cells in our body. So what are some common peptides? Well, the first one is collagen peptides. Does anybody drink collagen peptides? There's some delicious ones on the market. You can get some really tasty collagen peptides out there. Creatine, which helps to build muscle. A lot of gym goers are familiar with it. That's a peptide. Oxytocin is our trust hormone. That's a peptide. Vasopressin, which regulates the volume of water, the space in between our cells, that's a peptide. There are hundreds of peptides. There are hundreds of peptides that naturally occur inside of our body, and there are also synthetic peptides that are being researched every single day. There's one specific one that I want to draw our attention to, and that is the GHK copper peptide. That is a naturally occurring peptide inside of our body. I don't know why, Alice, I just looked at you, and I know I've looked at you a million times, but I just wanted to say hi to you. Yeah. I didn't get to say hi to you on the way in, but like right now, I just felt connected, so thank you. So this GHK copper peptide was discovered in 1973 by Dr. Lauren Picard. And he really should receive a Nobel Prize for discovering what this does in the human body. Some of the things that this GHK peptide does, the first one is that it directly modulates over 4,000 human genes. And more importantly, it can reverse gene expression to a more youthful and healthier state. So what does that mean? You guys, stress is way more than what we give it credit for in society. It is one of the most dangerous killers out there. If we think of our body, yeah, you got it. Yeah, heck yeah, Loretta. So if we think of our body as a switchboard, when we get stressed, we're only meant to be stressed enough to like outrun a lion until we can get to like a cave, right? We're not meant to be stressed long term. That stress comes in and it starts to take our genes. Have you ever known, you hear things like, oh, this person is genetically predisposed. Like all these people in their family will have some kind of chronic condition, but there'll be one person that didn't get it. It's because we have like genes, more than 12,000 genes. Stress comes in and it starts to take that switchboard and it'll drive things up, drive them down. It can wreak havoc on the things that we were healthy about, and it just came in and it started flipping switches. So GHK can actually put those switches back to where they started at. That's pretty exciting stuff when you think about how stressed out society is today. So some more things that it does. It stimulates genes that repair DNA damage. It also removes damaged proteins from the body. It stimulates nerve-related genes that relieve pain. Specifically, there are 7 anti-pain genes that are increased. And it also stimulates nerve-related genes that are involved in brain repair. It suppresses the production of fibrinogen. Fibrinogen, by suppressing it, it helps to reduce the tendency of forming blood clots, because that's something that fibrinogen does. Which, no surprise then, it also improves our circulatory health. It stimulates the production of collagen, and not just collagen right underneath our skin. Collagen throughout our entire body. Collagen is wrapped around every single one of our organs. The clinical studies found that it can tighten and firm loose skin and improve thickness and elasticity. It protects skin from UV radiation. It reduces inflammation. The interesting thing is they still don't actually know how GHK copper peptide reduces inflammation. But when you think about it, how many years have we been using aspirin for? And they only figured out how it relieves pain like a few years ago. But this is very exciting because stress and inflammation are a cycle. Stress causes inflammation, inflammation causes stress, and it's very hard to get out of that. GHK copper peptide also promotes hair growth and thickness, and it increases our body's own pluripotent stem cell production. So this sounds great, right? Oh, your screen's going dark. Let me open that up. I got it, girl. I just don't want it to like suddenly go dark like all together. So this sounds great, right? Like if you follow this logically, you think, okay, well, if we just take a GHK copper supplement, then we'll be able to have all these things inside of our body, right? We take tons of vitamins every day. Like half the room raised their hand for a multivitamin. So, like why don't we just do that? GHK copper peptide is 100% destroyed by our digestive system. The only way that they have been able to get it into the human body up until what we are here to share today is by applying it topically. But as we talked about earlier, when you apply it topically, it actually only goes skin deep. Well, skin deep means that the stem cell production or stimulation stays in the skin, because that's what we had talked about scientists found. More than a decade ago, they found that. So, because the stem cells adapt to their environment. So, let's like flip forward now and bring it around to these patches that you might have heard about. So David Schmidt is our founder, he's our creator, he's our CEO, and his origin story is really interesting. The man is a genius. He actually, his foundation was he was contracted to work with Navy SEALs to help promote their health. They were burnt out on amphetamines and caffeine, and so he needed to find a way to be able to deliver them energy without burning them out on something else. And he did it by using light therapy in a really interesting way. So light therapy isn't anything new. Light therapy has been around for thousands of years. We have seen it, even the ancient, like the Egyptians had it, they've got it like on their, I don't know, their pyramid paintings. They're not cave paintings. You know what? The hieroglyphs of, thank you, of show it. Oh, there's somebody in the waiting room. Come join us. Okay. Thanks for waiting. So light therapy is the exposure to natural light or synthetic light in a specific spectrum or wavelength, and it signals the pathways in the body to elicit a beneficial biological response. The best example of this is when we go outside into the sun, that sun hits our skin and it tells our brain to produce vitamin D. And we know that that vitamin D is not just in our skin because it shows up on our blood work. Right? So we know that it's actually flowing throughout our bodies. It's going everywhere. So we humans emit a very low level of light. If you look through a night vision apparatus, you can see humans will show up on it because we emit light. Any object that has heat emits light. It doesn't always go the other way. Light doesn't equal heat, but heat always equals light. So what David figured out was that by using an organic nanocrystalline structure that is activated when it comes up against our own body heat, the crystals could reflect part of the infrared spectrum that we emit right back at the body, stimulating the nerves in our skin, very similar to how the sun stimulates our skin to tell our brain to create vitamin D. But instead of telling our brain to create vitamin D, it tells our brain to stimulate the GHK copper peptide. And what goes up with GHK copper peptide? Stem cells, our own stem cell. Dawn, are you trying to get into this now too?
Oh, sorry.
You're good. I see her name come across the screen. Dawn Bamberg is in the waiting room. So she's right here. So this process is called photobiomodulation. And with this technology, David actually turned around and he started his own company called LifeWave. His goal is to help 1 billion households. And as a company, we are in over 100 countries. They manufacture in 2 medical grade facilities. One is right here in the United States, the other is in Ireland. And it's actually very important to him that we are never dependent on external supply chains that we saw get locked down over the last several years, because he always wants to make sure that this technology is available to the consumers. So I've got one right here on my wrist, actually, for easy viewing tonight. I've got like 7 of them on today. I'm just going to let you know right now. But I've got one right here. This little patch has a 20-year patent on it. And I don't know what you know about patents, but in order to get one, you actually have to prove that it does something. You can't just patent an idea. You have to show that it actually works. So we are 3.5 or 4 years into a 20-year patent. And we have more than 80 clinical studies that show how something this small could provide such a dramatic effect to the body. And I imagine that in a moment or in a little bit, we'll have people that will actually be able to share exactly what it's done for them, because it is really impressive to see what has happened. And it's no wonder why other companies and our government, they are trying to figure out how to make this happen. But you know what? They can't figure it out. David was able to figure this out. And this is the only place where you will be able to find a piece of technology that is so simple and so cost effective that we don't have to travel to another country in order to be able to create such astounding effects on our own body. So the patches are disposable. They last 12 hours. So we put it on. I tell people to set it by their toothbrush, put it on in the morning, take it off in the night when they brush their teeth. And we do take it off after 12 hours because too much exposure, even to the sun. You guys, the sun sets, right? We're not getting vitamin D all day long. We need a break from that. Likewise, even our own light, we need a break from. So we take it off, we throw it out, and then the next day we put another one on.
Or we put it on our pets.
Or we put it on our pets. That's right. I tell her.
I've seen miraculous differences.
Heck yeah. I tell mine, I say, we're going to be old biddies together. Yeah, that's what I tell her. So interestingly, okay, statistics show 50% of people will experience results quite quickly. The other 50%, myself included, will experience it more gradually. And by that, I mean more gradually, 1 to 4 months it might take for them to actually feel that something is going on. Some people, though, feel it right away. And that's amazing. So it doesn't mean it's not working if somebody doesn't feel it right away. Our body has innate intelligence. And so it might mean that those stem cells are actually going somewhere else in the body during that time, to an area that we cannot feel before they go to an area where we actually notice the change and the difference. And then of course there's always, if your foot stops hurting, you don't think about it anymore. So then you're like, oh, my shoulder, it didn't do anything there. Yeah, but your foot stopped hurting. So, so the last thing that I want to point out is that some people do experience a detox when they start to wear these patches. That's no wonder, because GHK pulls out damaged proteins from the body. So I would be surprised if people didn't experience a detox. They do say to drink more water during that time period to help kind of flush it out. Imagine, if you will, like after you get a massage, you drink more water to flush out the toxins that are being pulled out of the body. So because the detox can look like fatigue, headaches, brain fog. Some people get swelling if they put it right on the site of an injury. Sometimes they'll get swelling there. But it's something to be aware of. And if you do get detox, well, happy birthday to you, because that is a good sign. Like, nothing else pulled it out until then. So congrats, because after that comes out, it's going to make a phenomenal difference for you. So with all that said, I'm actually going to bring Dawn back up here. She's going to share a little bit about how we actually access these patches now that you have all the science behind it. So Dawn, please come right on back up.
Thank you. It's always so cool to hear from different people. And, I'll tell you, we are raising up leaders of people that are enjoying sharing things with others. And so I think that we just definitely want to say thank you for just a different way to hear things, right? I love just taking notes with new stuff. So for those of you who maybe have heard this for the first time, welcome, because we love being able to share this. What I love is that, so many people are feeling differences. People have testimonies. Everybody's body is different. And that's good and that's bad, right? It's really good, but people always want to know, well, what am I going to experience? And so when we start sharing testimonies, everybody's story is a little bit different because we all have a different history, we all have a different background. Not everybody is made exactly the same. And what I loved is that you said is that our bodies are innate, right? They know what needs to be healed first in the body, and so that's all happening on the inside. We don't necessarily have to know what that is, right? Which is super cool. The thing I want to say is that I've never worked with something that gives people overall such huge benefits faster than normal. I mean, just as far as people for my story, I had back pain. It was chronic for 2.5 years, and I had tried everything and nothing was working. And then I used this patch and my pain went away in a week. Now, that doesn't mean that we're here to cure, treat, or diagnose anything, because we're not, right? And we don't know what your story is going to be. And like Susan said, it could be working on your vascular system, but you don't feel that. It could be going to your hair. You don't feel your hair grow. You don't feel your blood flow. You don't feel your liver, getting fixed, because a lot of people have leaky gut, right? And so that's a little bit more important than maybe my knee pain. So we don't know what's going to work for somebody, but we do love to say that this is a tool that you can put in your toolbox to share with other people. And it's a very cost-effective tool. So we like to show people how you can get it at a discount, because you can order it and buy it wholesale, even if you decide you don't want to build a business. If you just want to get a discount, because most people do. I think I have one retail customer, but I think it's because he did it wrong. I don't think he realized there was a link to be able to find it wholesale. So the way this company works is that there are a sleeve of patches inside. There's 30 patches in one sleeve. So it's a 30-day supply. So like Susan said, you put it on, you wear it for 12 hours, you take it off. So in one sleeve of products, it's 1 month supply. It retails at $150. It's actually worth every bit of $150. But what we like to say is we can share it and show you how you can get it at $99, which is the wholesale price. So the price of your patch is $3.30. So the way, and I'm going to kind of give these to, how would I give them to Susan? So if you guys want an order form or don't have an order form, we're going to go over this side where it has information. I'm going to show this for those of you at home. Is that backwards or forwards, Barb? Can you? It's forward? Okay. This is actually the first time I've used my, my computer for doing it. I bought a new computer. I bought a new phone too. Like, this technology, right? It's like wonderful. I like that we're able to share it with other people. So while we're passing around the order form here, I just want to go over this because there's some different ways that you can place your order. You can pay $25 as like a membership, right? You know, it's like a Costco membership. You pay and then you get to shop at a discount. That's similar to what we're talking about here. So, what I like to say is, if there is anybody that has popped into your head as Susan and or I were communicating, you want to definitely sign up as a brand partner to be able to use your own products. You don't ever have to share it with anybody else again. But if you're talking to your neighbor, or you run into somebody at the grocery store, or you have a family member that you're like, you really ought to try this, it's an easy extension to be able to share it with somebody else. I love that the company actually pays us to share it with other people, and not because we're upselling our friends and family, right? So you can pay $25 to get your own account, and then you can get the sleeve of products for $99. Now, as you're looking at this, you can see the suggested brand partner enrollment options. The starter package is called the silver package. This is actually our most popular package because they waive the $25 startup fee. That way you're paying $2.99 and it's all product. You get 3 sleeves of products. And so what I want to say here is, so that we've got a big group in the room, and I don't know specifically who I'm talking to at home. You guys want to make sure you get with the person that shared this with you, because here's a couple things. We want you to come in with where you're comfortable, right? So there are different packages on here. So like I said, there's a silver package, and that's going to give you kind of your biggest bang for your buck because they waive that $25 fee. You get 3 sleeves of products. We can customize it for what's best for you. And so that's nice because some people have a lot of inflammation in the body. And we have a patch that works very well with the X39, which is the patch that Susan was talking about, this stem cell activation patch. And when you put both of them together, you're going to get a bigger bang for your buck, right? Because one's going to take care of the inflammation, and then the other one is going to help the body to heal. Who knows that our bodies were created to heal itself if given the right tools? Again, this is a tool. This is an on switch to wake it up, to be able to go to those places so that we can start reversing our aging and feeling like we did when I wasn't 50-something. Cool. All right. So as you go down here, there's also a business builder package. That's the gold package. It's more sleeves so that you can share it with other people. What we like about the gold package is that you can then utilize the entire pay plan. So if that's something that you're interested in, we can talk to you more about it. And then there are some people that hear this and they're like, I want to run with this. I understand the science. I understand the value. I want to come in with the silver package because I want a bigger bang for my buck. You can have a jump start on the payment plan as far as being able to receive money from the company to get your money back. And I know several people in the room came in and were like, okay, let's do this. I'm running. So that's just a little bit of information about how you can come in. One thing I do want to clarify is those are packages that you purchase to come in with. It doesn't mean that that's what you're going to pay every month. And so in order to have an active account, you only need to buy one sleeve to keep your account active. So even if you decide you want to come in with that silver package and you get 3 sleeves of product, it doesn't mean you're always buying a silver package. It means that then you can turn around and you can purchase one sleeve for the $99 and get that X39 delivered to your front door. And we highly recommend auto ship just because we get those phone calls because they're in a sleeve and all of a sudden you look and the inside of the sleeve is white and the patches are white and it's like, oh, I thought I had more in there. And now all of a sudden you have, a patch emergency. And so it's nice to know that they're going to be coming to my front door every month and I don't have to think about it. And I share it with my husband and he uses his patches and I use my patches. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to say thank you for all of those who came online and watched the video and took a closer look. We're going to share some stories in here, but some people don't love to be recorded, and so I'm just going to honor the people in the room. And so we're going to say goodbye. Thank you for showing up. We will show and make sure you guys have a link so that maybe if there's somebody that you wanted to share this with, you can later. All right, guys. Ciao.